How's it going, everybody? So check it out. I know who I am, and I know that I'm a faulty human. I make mistakes all the time, and I know that I have enough intelligence to be able to find my way through life and reason with the things that I discover. But not everybody has that, and when you do know who you are and you appear to voice that hey, I am who I am, a lot of people take that as ego, and it's not. It's in fact, the more you learn about yourself, the more your ego drops. And the most important discovery I've made in life is being able to admit my faults and my mistakes, because when you do that, nobody can really call you out on anything. I mean, if someone says, hey, you should quit smoking, I say, yep, I know, I should. I'm working on it. But I know plenty of folks who will make tons of excuses. Oh, I like smoking. Oh, it's not that bad. Oh, I only have a few a day. And everyone makes excuses, but pretty much we're trying to get to the point where we can judge ourselves properly. And the only way to do that is by educating ourselves on the general behavior of people around us in order to say, what is the norm? Now, I'm not saying that normal is right or proper. In fact, today's norm is completely wrong because of what it's led us into, this material world. And but knowing who you are is really important, because then you can devise your own opinions based on the information that you've received. Now, on that note, there seems to be a majority of folks who are riding the coattails of others, and they're going around on the internet learning from people, hearing about something that really sounds good to them, and rather than doing their own research, which most researchers will tell you, don't take my word for it, do your own homework. But rather than doing that research, they just continue to ride the coattails of someone else, believe everything they say, and then attack anyone who argues that point or has their own opinion. So what I'm saying is I've been attacked by people on subjects that I'm well aware of, but that they can't even present a single shred of evidence. It's just that the reason why I see this is because people, instead of giving me an actual, like if I ask for, hey, can I see, where's the evidence on this, because I want to know if it's true or not, and they will just send me a link to a video. I go to that video and it's just another YouTube video from another guy talking about other stuff that he's learned from someone else. And this is kind of how we learn sometimes, but you have to look into the evidence beyond YouTube. You have to get away from YouTube, get away from Facebook, you know. And guess what? Get away from Google. You have to eventually get away from the computer altogether. But there are certain subjects that we cannot tackle. Like, you can't learn about what's going on in Syria by going there, obviously. You know, we have to read, and we're at the mercy of media. So we owe it to ourselves to look at it from every angle. You know, if you're just listening to Fox News, then you're just getting one side of the story, and it's obviously biased. I mean, I was telling people like 15 years ago that Fox News was biased, and they all said, you know, that's bullshit, that's just a conspiracy theory. You know, look at it today. You know, look at what Fox News has become. And a lot of people watch it. It's garbage. Well, guess what? The opposite end of the spectrum is NPR. And you know, I used to be an NPR fan until I saw that side of the paradigm. Those people are so biased to their side that they bring in bullshit stories too. Now, I would much rather listen to NPR than Fox News, obviously. But all it does is reinforces my current beliefs, rather than putting forth new ideas or challenging the paradigm. You know, I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, you know. People who claim to attach themselves to one party or another have totally lost my interest if we talk politics. You know, if a person has already declared that they hold a position, then I don't talk politics with them, because only independent thinkers can really reason through this and realize that it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican or even an independent or a Green Party. The system needs to be changed, and it's not going to change by us picking sides. You know, in they say that Americans are violent, that Americans are warmongers, that Americans just like to fight. And it's funny because I was watching some video about the top 20 sports disasters of all time, and I think only one of them was in the U.S., and it was when some bleachers collapsed. All the rest of them were in South America and Europe during soccer games. Huge mobs of people, fist fighting, killing each other, up to 100, 150 people dead at an event because people stampeded down the bleachers and the thing fell apart. It all starts with riots, and what it is it's this pent-up animosity and anguish. When people say Americans are violent, it's easy to agree with them, but I don't. I don't see, people I know aren't violent. People I know don't want war. The people that I associate with have no desire for any of that. So, I think that it's just the nature of people. It's just that Americans appear violent because because our government declares wars that are unjust on the rest of the world. So, all of a sudden, they put up this propaganda in the media saying that Americans are backing it, and then the rest of the world believes it. So I get people saying comments like Americans are this, Americans are that, and I ask, well, where are you getting your information? Have you ever been to America? No, they haven't. They're at the same mercy of the same media that we are. So the same propaganda that our government uses on us, their government's using on them, and our government's using on them. And it's a division tactic, and we've seen through that now. But sports teams, picking a sports team, fighting over that's just a smaller war. It's a way for people to release their pent-up aggressions. I started watching a movie last night. I just downloaded it. It was called The Purge. And it was a pretty stupid movie, but the idea of it was based in 2022, and the New World Order had taken over, and it's very symbolic, but they created, the crime rates were down to like 1% or something, and the reason why they claimed was because of one day a year they had something called the Purge, and from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. nothing was illegal. You were allowed to go out, murder, kill, rape, maim, pillage, whatever you wanted to do. It was totally legal for 12 hours once a year. And that this had reduced the crime rate, supposedly. And in the movie, the idea was that the people, I only got like maybe 20 minutes into it before I had to turn it off because the kid woke up. Don't want him to see that, but they were saying that that they believed it was a way to eliminate the lower class. And of course, the rich people are able to put bars on their windows and defend themselves, while the poor and the homeless are just killed off. The implications of that idea go so deep because that's exactly what's happening right now. They're keeping people divided over just the silliest things. I mean, I could go on and on about how people just want to fight, but you've all seen it, and we all know it's true. There seems to be people pressing themselves in order to convince themselves. And that goes back to what I said at the beginning about knowing who you are and not letting yourself get riled up by some of the most mundane things. I mean, we could argue about particular bills or laws or drone fears, until we're blue in the face. Now the drones, of course, that's a bad example. That's something that needs to be addressed. But what I mean is some of the smaller issues like bills that are passed that we don't understand. Like I said, the Monsanto Act, it was a huge thing. Every act that's ever passed is a huge binder of information that has maybe one little part in it that they claim was snuck in. And usually it is, and that's why they sign these bills during holidays. Because people aren't involved, people don't care, they don't notice. Or they'll sign a bill during declaring a war or during a major event, so it kind of just slips behind people's minds and slips through the cracks. And it angers us because we see ourselves being cheated by them, the government, those people, these public servants, public trustees who we've put into office to help bring us all together, and there's a major segment of that who's trying to keep people divided. So we got to knock this shit off and stop acting like kids. And I don't expect that everyone's going to be able to bring themselves to forgive and forget and move on with life. Some people are too far in their life. The way their thinking is too set. They're too set in their ways. Some people are just taught improperly, and some people just live in environments which cause them to have to embrace either fear or violence in order to survive. And so it's really easy for someone to sit back and talk about the problems in the world and divide themselves over it. But just remember that every person who's using the internet has a computer. Every person who's on YouTube posting comments has the time and the ability and the resources and the money to have a computer and most likely a home to live in. And those people that we talk about, those poor people, those people, they don't have a voice at all. So rather than argue amongst ourselves about our stupid petty little bills and things that we know we can't change, and some we can, don't get me wrong, but rather than fight about things we can't change or that we're not sure about, we should spend more time being a voice for those people, for the majority of the world that is living very meagerly. And these are the people who make the world run. These are the people who build the things that you have and create the things that you use. You know, these are the laborers, the workforce, and the farmers who make the world go round. And they understand more than anybody what life's really about. And they have to bring themselves together and their communities together. And there's always some person that wants to step in and claim that the other side is bad and cause war and conflict amongst that, because there's profit in war and there's profit in conflict. You know, anybody can write a book about something and people are going to believe it. There's always going to be, you know, you could take two books that are completely opposing each other, totally different points of view, and there's going to be people, half the people are going to go for one, half the people will go for the other, and then they'll argue about who's right. So rather than finding that common ground, we push ourselves and pump up our chests. And I guess I've been that way in the past, and I know how it is. I know how it is to be wanting to be right. And then at a certain point in your life, you have to say, you know, I don't want to be right. I just want to know the truth. And so by speaking my opinion, I can hear other people's opinions and get the truth across. So I found a small group of people who can talk rationally in my personal life and on the internet, and and it's hard to find people like that in your community, you know, or friends. You know, people grow up and they grow apart. You have to meet new people, but we have to get out and do it and embrace our communities. I'm going to start showing up at some of the local community events, like you know, when they have the town meetings and stuff. So I can go in there and be the guy in the room who says, hey, you know, let's find a way to solve these problems rather than to complain about them. And let's learn what's important and stick together, because you are just one voice. But one voice is what's always changed the world. It's always been one person. Almost every movement has been started by one person. And if each one of us start our own little movements and they all resonate with one another, then that resonance will build and amplify itself. It's a frequency like everything else. Positivity and negativity are frequencies. And when you finally find your niche, embrace it, because I haven't found mine yet, but when I do find it, I'm going to embrace it. I've thought about writing books, I've thought about doing radio shows or movies, or just speaking to people, or just going and traveling around and maybe doing studies on something, but I want it to matter and I want it to be important. And if one person can go to a town meeting and influence a decision based on having the balls to speak out, any one of you could do it. Any one of you people could decide to go to your town meeting and say, I'm concerned about fluoride, or I'm concerned about, you know, the chemicals that this company is putting out, whatever it may be, but get involved. And if we all start doing that, then your one voice in your one town can be amplified. You know, I mean, I think I have, what, I don't know how many subs I have, not many, but I was thinking if each one of the subs, if every one of my subs got together, that would be like, whatever, 10 people per state. So, yeah, all the major metropolitan areas are covered, you know. That's all I'm saying, is it just takes a little bit of agreeing. And I'm glad that this isn't, I don't expect this to happen overnight, because this is something that takes time. And I think we're doing it. And I'm trying really hard to ride on the positivity, because there's so much negativity going on in the world right now. And you can't ignore it, but we will find a way. And I urge each one of you to take bigger steps than I have, because I'll be honest, I'm lazy and I'm self-indulgent, like the rest of the world tends to be, with you know, when you have the ability to come home, sit on the couch and watch videos or listen to music, you know, that's what you do sometimes. And I envy people who have the motivation to go out and make big changes. And I'm hoping to change myself to where I can get to the point where that is my goal, that's all that matters, is service to man. Because I want to honestly be in service to mankind without feeling it as an obligation. I'm not going to lie to myself and say that I love going out and working in the soup kitchen every day to help the homeless. That's not true. But I want it to be. I want it to be. I want to find that, and that's integrity. That's a value that each one of us can have. And when service to your fellow man becomes your highest priority, then you'll always be happy. Because you can always help someone. But you can't always help yourself. But you can always help yourself by helping someone. So, I love every one of you, I really do. And that's no bullshit. Even the most horrible people who just want to cause problems, I love y'all. Because without you, without each one of you, this won't work. It's like time to take a deep breath and stop, you know, stop peacocking. And just embrace us as a whole. So, namaste everybody, have a great week.